With innovation and changing the status quo, there will always be a fight to stop the change. And right now, the status quo of Bitcoin is being flipped on its head due to a technical innovation called BRC20. The maxi pads don't like it and are going to try to stop it. Will they win? Find out in about 10 minutes because it's time for Chico Crypto. Yup, BRC20 is the talk of the town right now. Every influencer, YouTube or Twitter is talking about the tokenization standard for Bitcoin. The popularity of this is causing major demand for block space on the Bitcoin network or the blockchain. To see this, we need to look at the mempool of Bitcoin. The mempool is a Bitcoin node's mechanism for storing information on unconfirmed transactions. It acts as a sort of waiting room for transactions that have not yet been included inside of a Bitcoin block. As we can see from the mempool size, just a few days ago, the mempool got to its biggest size ever, nearly double that of previous large mempool spikes, which happened in 2021 with the bull market power outages in China and all the way back in 2017 with the block size wars. Although today, even with the hype calming down, the mempool is still just as big as these two last spikes in the past. This demand for block space is causing transaction fees on Bitcoin to skyrocket. People are having to pay $20 for a transaction to go through during peak demand times. Some people see this as a good thing. The BTC network is finally being used by users and getting the demand that equals Ethereum. This is good. It means the number of people using Bitcoin will only increase with time, and BTC will be forced to find a scaling solution because of the high fees. But others see this as a bad thing. They're comparing BRC20s and ordinals to spam on the network. They are just garbage transactions that should be banned. One of the supporters of BRC20s and the ordinal protocol is the big Bitcoin bull Michael Saylor. Just a few days ago, he was on a podcast speaking about them, and this is what he had to say.
So I think that what happened with ordinals and NFTs is we crossed this chasm from what was a bearish scenario to a bullish scenario. If I was a miner, I would be ecstatic.
He sees ordinals and BRC20s as a bullish scenario for Bitcoin, and he points out that the miners are ecstatic about them as they are getting their pockets filled due to the transaction fees incoming from the network demand. One of the critics of BRC20s is actually an influential BTC core developer, Luke Dash Jr. He sent out a message to all Bitcoin core devs regarding BRC20s and ordinals. He said this regarding them: action should have been taken months ago. Spam filtration has been a standard part of Bitcoin Core since day one. It's a mistake that the existing filters weren't extended to taproot transactions. We can address that, and he gives examples of how they can stop the BRC20 spamming. Now, why would Luke Dash Jr. be against this Bitcoin innovation, bringing in new Bitcoin users like never before? Well, all the way back July of 2019, I made a video on the developers of Bitcoin and who was really in control of the network. I covered Luke Dash Jr. Let's see what I had to say back then. Number 9 on the list is Luke Jr., better known as Luke Dash Jr. Now, Luke is involved with Blockstream and is a co-founder, but he isn't considered a part of the team tree. But if we see old archives of the team page, he did work for them, and I would assume that this is continuing as nothing has came out in the public to prove any different. Luke is a co-founder of Blockstream and is highly connected to them. As we can see, Luke authored one of Blockstream's white papers on scaling BTC through sidechains, which as we can see was wrote back in 2014. This isn't the scaling solution for BTC, but Blockstream and Luke still push it. I'm sure many of you are like, who is Blockstream, Tyler? Why do we care? Well, they are a Bitcoin development company whose influence over BTC development cannot be ignored. Now, in that same video, I showed Blockstream's connections to the world of the global elite, the groups that control everything in this world. Let's watch now. One of Blockstream's main investors is AXA Venture Partners. As we can see, they are featured on their page, and they invested in the 55 million Series A round. Who is AXA Ventures? They are the investment arm of the too big to fail insurance, banking, and financial services giant AXA Group. CEO and chairman at the time of the investment was Henry de Castries, who also sits on the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group, which we can verify by going to their website and seeing his name right there. But he's also listed on Wikipedia for Bilderberg. Besides being another piece in the global control, corporate, and political web that is the Bilderberg Group, Blockstream has ties to the Federal Reserve Bank through Digital Currency Group and Barry Silbert. In February, in the same 55 million Series A round, they got their investment from Barry and DGC. Who sits on the board of DGC? Glenn Hutchins. And as we can see here, he also sits on the board of the Federal Reserve. No wonder Luke is pushing the ban of BRC20s and ordinals. He doesn't want BTC to scale, as his overlords know BTC scaling is a major threat to the US dollar, and BRC20s will force Bitcoin to scale. So what do I see coming? Well, just like back in 2017, we are going to see another war come to Bitcoin. Back in 2017, it was the block size war, when BTC was split into 3 different networks: Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash backed by Roger Ver, and Bitcoin SV backed by Craig White. This time it's going to be the BRC20 war or the ordinal inscriptions war. But let me tell you, the maxi pad Blockstream babies aren't going to win this one. The miners love ordinals. The users love ordinals. You only have a small subset of corrupt developers and maxi pad influencers who are against this Bitcoin innovation because they hate to see BTC scale. If BTC splits again because of the fight, the chain with the most hash power wins, and the hash power is going where the money is going to be made, with BRC20s and ordinal inscriptions. That is my prediction. Ordinals are not going anywhere, but you always need a plan B with Bitcoin. Let's just say they do get miner support and BRC20s and ordinals are banned. Well, there's something already created that solves the issue. Tokens are created on chain with no fear of removal or pruning. So what is this? Well, it is Bitcoin's SRC20 standard and Bitcoin stamps. Bitcoin developer Mike in Space created the SRC20 Bitcoin stamp protocol, and it's starting to move like BRC20s did in their early days. So what's the difference between SRC20 and BRC20? Well, unlike ordinals and BRC, SRC20 and stamps allow for direct storage of data in the blockchain using UTXO, how payments are made and stored in Bitcoin, which is in the base layer of BTC. With this data stored, images, and text using UTXO, there is no way developers could ban this, as they would need to ban UTXO, the way Bitcoin payments are made and stored. That's never going to happen. SRC20 tokens guarantee permanence stored in blockchain outputs, UTXO, making it impossible to prune. Stamps are a solid plan B and maybe even a plan A if another hype wave comes for tokenization and DeFi on Bitcoin, which I almost guarantee will. So you must be asking yourself, what are the SRC20 plays? Well, going back to Mike in Space's Twitter, we can see he retweeted a great thread on an explanation of stamps. And under the part about how this works, Alex Wacey says, stamps use the open source counterparty protocol, which was first used to issue NFTs by burning Bitcoin to acquire XCP token for smart contract execution. So stamps are built using the counterparty protocol, which as we can see from its Wikipedia, it was built on top of Bitcoin to launch NFTs all the way back in 2014. Checking out the CoinGecko for Counterparty, it's sitting way back at rank 977 on CoinGecko and under a $10 million market cap. Could stamps be bringing back Counterparty to life? Is there a play with Counterparty? I'm putting a little in. What about the tokens, the SRC20 tokens? Are there any winners there? Well, here's a link to the tracker of SRC20 tokens. As we can see, Kevin is number 1. It's the OG1. It was minted first. So how do you buy stamps? Well, luckily most stamps are still in the minting stage since the herds haven't caught on, which means they are pretty dang cheap. Although Kevin, the #1 SRC20, is minted out. But that thread that Mike in Space retweeted from Wacey has a great tutorial on how to mint SRC20 tokens. I've included it in the description as well, so you at home can learn to mint your first SRC20s. And I'm going to keep doing some research and have a video coming up soon on my top SRC20s besides Kevin. And viewers, don't forget to follow my socials, my Twitter, Instagram, and join the chat on Telegram, where I always drop hints on what I will be covering early. Links for my socials are in the description. Cheers. I'll see you next time.